Before this video ends, you will probably feel the urge to check your phone. Maybe you already did. Do not fight the feeling, just notice it. That tiny impulse is the reason quitting your phone is much harder than it sounds. Your phone is not only a device anymore, it is your alarm clock, entertainment system, map, camera, social life, news source, and escape from every uncomfortable moment. Bored in an elevator? Check your phone. Waiting for food? Check your phone. A conversation becomes awkward? Check your phone. You may think you are choosing to use it, but after thousands of repeated checks, your brain begins making that choice before you even notice. So, what would actually happen if you stopped using your smartphone for 30 days? Not just deleting TikTok, not turning off a few notifications. 30 days without scrolling, refreshing, or carrying the internet in your pocket. The first change would happen almost immediately. Within the first few hours, you would begin reaching for a phone that is no longer there. You would touch your pocket, look toward the table. You might even feel what seems like a vibration against your leg. Nothing happened. Your brain simply expected something to happen. Every notification, message, like, and new video has trained you to anticipate a possible reward. Most checks are boring, but occasionally something interesting appears. A message from someone you like, good news, a funny video, a sudden burst of attention. Because you never know which check will reward you, you keep checking. It is the same basic mechanism that makes slot machines difficult to walk away from. Unpredictable rewards. During the first 48 hours, boredom would feel almost physical. The moment your mind becomes quiet, it would search for stimulation. You might open your laptop instead, turn on the television, walk into another room without remembering why. This is where most people assume the experiment is failing. It is not. You are finally noticing how often your phone was covering silence. For years, every empty moment has been filled before your brain could decide what to do with it. By the third day, time would begin to feel slower. At first, this would be uncomfortable. A 5-minute wait would actually feel like 5 minutes. A meal would no longer disappear behind a screen. A walk would seem longer because your attention would no longer be divided between the physical world and a digital one. But something else would begin to return: awareness, boredom. You would start noticing small details that normally get filtered out. The way people speak when they are nervous, the sound of traffic several streets away, how often everyone around you reaches for a screen at exactly the same time. You would begin seeing the behavior from the outside. By the end of the first week, your concentration could start improving. Researchers have found that even the presence of a nearby phone can consume part of our attention. Your brain has to spend energy resisting the possibility of checking it. It is like trying to study while someone repeatedly whispers your name. Even when you ignore them, part of your mind remains alert. Remove the phone, and that mental background noise begins to fade. Reading becomes easier. Conversations feel less fragmented. You may be able to watch an entire movie without opening another screen halfway through. This does not mean your attention span magically repairs itself in 7 days. It means you finally stop training it to switch tasks every few seconds. And that is when the experiment becomes strange. Around the second week, boredom stops feeling like a problem. It becomes useful. Without endless short videos feeding you ideas, your mind begins generating its own. You replay old conversations. Think about decisions you have avoided. Imagine projects you could create. Remember people you have not spoken to in years. When your attention is not constantly pointed outward, it turns inward. This is connected to a group of brain regions often called the default mode network. It becomes active during reflection, daydreaming, memory, and imagination. These moments can feel unproductive because nothing visible is happening, but they are often where ideas begin. The shower thought, the solution that appears during a walk, the realization that arrives only after you stop forcing it. Your phone did not destroy your creativity. It simply made it easier to avoid the silence creativity needs. By the third week, your relationships might begin to feel different. Without a phone on the table, you are forced to remain inside the conversation. You notice pauses, facial expressions, changes in tone, the things people say without using words. You may also notice how uncomfortable sustained attention has become. Looking someone in the eyes for several seconds can feel more intense than watching hundreds of strangers online. Digital communication gives you time to edit yourself. Real conversation does not. It is slower, messier, and more vulnerable. But it is also where social connection actually develops. Then comes sleep. Most people do not only use their phones during the day, they use them during the final minutes before falling asleep and the first minutes after waking up. That means your mind begins and ends each day reacting to someone else's priorities, messages, headlines, arguments, videos selected by an algorithm. Without the phone beside your bed, nighttime becomes less stimulating. You are no longer telling your brain that midnight is the perfect time to process breaking news, relationship drama, and 27 videos about strangers. Falling asleep may become easier. Mornings may feel less chaotic. Instead of immediately entering the digital world, you experience a few minutes in your own. By day 30, the most important change would not be your attention span, sleep, or stress. It would be your relationship with choice. You would realize how many actions were never fully conscious. Opening an app, refreshing a feed, checking a notification that could have waited, picking up the phone because thinking felt harder. The device was not controlling you like a puppet. It was simply offering the easiest possible escape hundreds of times every day, and your brain usually accepts the easiest option available. After 30 days, you probably would not decide that phones are evil. You would still need maps, messages, banking, music, and calls, but you might stop carrying every app, every argument, every advertisement, and every stranger's opinion everywhere you go. You would understand that attention is not just something you use, it is what your life is made from. Whatever repeatedly receives your attention eventually shapes your memories, your beliefs, your skills, and your personality. Your phone is not stealing your life all at once. It is taking it in moments so small that they do not feel valuable. 30 seconds here, 5 minutes there, one more video before bed, until years pass. So try something smaller than 30 days. Put your phone in another room for 1 hour. No music, no scrolling, no replacement screen. Then pay attention to what your mind tries to escape from, because the most frightening part of putting your phone down is not the silence, it is discovering what the noise was helping you avoid.